podcast, Fantasy Draft Spectacular. I am Casey Coggins with Alvin Hebert.
Let's do it.
And Andrew Lara.
Hello. Jerry Jones.
We are starting our podcast league draft here in about a minute and 10 seconds. Doing it live, so there's going to be real-time feedback.
Probably mute
shit talking. I'm sure. And then we'll go through 18 league. Got the three of us. A couple coworkers of mine, and a couple other people, and should be it. As I've said previously on podcasts, this NFL season is going to be an interesting one. I went through today, and I actually went through every team's schedule, put it in Excel, and selected wins and losses for each team and picked out their records that I think they're going this season. So there's going to be a lot of bad football from a couple teams, but overall I can see a lot of teams in that 10-win range. But we're in the final 10 seconds before the draft starts.
And I just got in the draft.
I see that.
Thank you.
Looks like there are going to be a couple people who are going to
That's why I muted mine.
going to draft, and that signals the start of the draft. So far, we have 5 of the 8 members that have joined, and I know a couple. Well, one of them might actually be working. The other one should make it in, and then April's team is going to auto draft as it did.
Her championship year.
Last year. She is defending champion of our league, and she was kind of the control last year. We needed a fill-in, so I was like, well, we'll have her team auto draft, and the only thing that got changed throughout the season was
stupid. Your team gonna be booty.
Was the lineups. The lineups when somebody had a bye week, I went and changed the lineup. Other than that, I went based off of projected score, put them into the game. So Matthew Berry does know what he's talking about. So we're
get my homer pick out of the way.
Zeke.
Fresh legs.
Still got a fat belly though.
Hey man, it's cool.
Going with
David Johnson. I would have taken David Johnson if this was a PPR league.
Yeah,
he's going to be.
The thing is I was super high on David Johnson last year because I knew he was going to be the workhorse and an offense that was supposed to be pretty good still. This year's offense, I think they can, with Bradford and Rosen being your starters. That's Rosen if anything bad happens. I don't know how good of a passing attack they're going to have.
Exactly.
Their defense isn't going to be as good as it's been in years past. So they might not be running the ball as much. And so I don't know what kind of load David Johnson's going to get, especially with the kind of freak injury that he had last year.
He's still going to get about 27 or 30 plus touches.
Yeah, and that's his value is that he is going to get a lot of touches on the team and in each game. That's kind of why I went Alvin Kamara with my first pick, because Saints are going to have a high-powered offense, and he might not get the ball every time like David Johnson would get, but there are going to be games where he's 9 catches, 15 carries, a total of 170 yards and a touchdown. So there's a lot to like about Kamara, and same thing with Zeke with Dez not being there, with him coming back after the season where he had the 6-game suspension. He's in line to have a year like his rookie year where he led the league in rushing.
Come on, April, pick already.
I thought she was auto draft.
She's auto drafting.
auto-draft.
Yeah. So
It was just her turn. So.
so on to round 2 where April picked up the two of the top receivers, Julio Jones and DeAndre Hopkins. Her auto pick is just going to take the highest ranked player. I'm going to be able to get the thing that I wanted to do in my other league is I wanted to pair up my running backs. I wanted to get Alvin Kamara and Kareem Hunt, two number 1 backs. Kareem Hunt leading the league in rushing last year. Alvin Kamara, I believe, led the league in all-purpose yards and won Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year. So my 2 running backs are set.
Who the hell? You motherfucker.
Oh, a picture yet?
You took Fournette from me.
I guess I
Bitch.
I think Fournette's not going to have as good a year, which is something we talked about in our fantasy sleepers and fantasy busts. Because I think with Bortles not having anybody to throw it to, if I'm playing Jacksonville, I'm just stacking the box and not letting Fournette going.
We got a Devontae.
It's just like how Alvin Kamara is going to be used in New Orleans. You don't got no wide receiver to throw it to, so you're just going to throw it to your running back.
Nah, they don't have a wide receiver to throw it to.
Well,
Michael
Marcus
Thomas.
Marcus Lee, he's hurt. And then they got
Jackson.
Moncrief.
Well, I'm saying you said Alvin Kamara.
Oh no, I said they're going to use him like no one else
David.
Alvin Kamara.
Well, Kamara, the Saints' offense is loaded.
Oh yeah.
They had Ted Ginn last year. They had Michael Thomas for the last couple. Mark Ingram. Breeze always uses his tight ends well. They picked up Cam Meredith from the Bears. He should have a good season with them. So, like the use of Alvin Kamara was mainly out of necessity of the Saints wanting to utilize their running backs more, not out of necessity of like they don't have a receiver to throw it to, so give it to Kamara. Because last year, Michael Thomas still had 92 catches for like 1,000 yards. So
when you just go for them go routes.
That's not what he does. That's Ted Ginn's job. All right. Now I need to get my receiver.
I just picked up 3 running backs, by the way.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go with this year's NFL. There's a couple guys at the top that that should be good receiver wise. But running backs after the first like 10 guys, you're now trying to get guys that are splitting downs and all that. So I'm not sure what I want to do here because I don't think AJ Green is going to be as good as he has been, but I'm going to go Fitz. Oh.
Fitzgerald.
Yeah. Because I don't...
Mr. Old Reliable.
I've had him in the last couple of years. He's been really good. AJ Green, I just don't really trust all that much.
Man, people say that, but he still puts up numbers with a mediocre. What's his name? The Red Rockets name?
Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton.
There it goes. There it goes.
Alrighty.
Squad.
Squaddle.
Wait, why am I on auto pick? What?
You're not anymore.
It said that I was. I don't know how that happened.
Did you click out of something?
No, how did I get... Did I get fucking Keenan Allen?
No, you picked up Michael Thomas, I think.
What? Shut up.
I think so.
Dog, don't even play.
Yeah, you got Michael Thomas. That was your last pick.
Yo,
What happened?
I don't even know. It says I was on auto pick, and then I see someone who I didn't draft.
Oh shit, collusions, bro, collusions.
What?
We have a first error.
Yo.
Yo, I went Jimmy Graham over Ertz and Olsen just because I already have two guys that have bye weeks on the 9th. And if I picked up Olsen, he would have been a bye week on the 4th with McCaffrey.
Well, I think Jimmy Graham's going to have.
And I think he's better than Ertz.
Yeah, I mean, Ertz is going to be the number one target in the Philly offense, but I don't think the Philly offense is going to be as good as it was last year. Jimmy Graham, there is. I read Matthew Berry's love-hate article that he writes for every fantasy week, which ends up being his last one. Was this past year, or this past one that he wrote, and he put Jimmy Graham on there because Jimmy Graham wasn't good in Seattle really. Like he came on strong a little bit last season, and Aaron Rodgers has never really used a tight end. But I think Jimmy Graham has always been used more like a receiver than a tight end, so I think he's in line to have a great year. All right.
Did somebody already pick up fucking Aaron Rodgers too?
Yep.
Damn.
Casey Martin drafted him 5th round, pick 2.
I'm just waiting for the homer pick to come in.
For me, I'm not gonna. There's nobody on that.
He's going for Stafford.
No,
Or that Golden Tate.
no. If I wind up,
Maybe if he had a quarterback.
Ooh.
if I wind up with a Lion, the guy that I've been targeting is Kerryon Johnson, their running back, because they've needed a running back to be good, and he shows the signs of being a like hand the ball off to him on 1st and 2nd down, and he'll cut out 6 or 7 yards, and then you can have an open playbook. But the receivers, it's hard with the Lions. Marvin Jones had such a good year last year. Golden Tate led the league in like yards after catch the last 2 seasons.
But it wasn't good for fantasy. I had him on my fantasy team,
But yeah, their receivers, I just don't trust them week to week.
Yes.
Stafford's going to be a top 10 quarterback because he's been a top 10 quarterback in for the last.
Derrick Henry, Amari Cooper, Allen Robinson. Somebody joined.
Oh yeah, Rob left. It
Rob
looked like
Nikolic.
he asked if he could draft from his phone, so something might have happened there. And so, what team am I at now? So I got the 3 running backs. I got the 2 receivers. No tight end, no quarterback. But I can get those guys later, so I'm gonna get, a guy that I think. Oh man. I think the best of value here
Is to go with Golden Tate.
yeah,
That's why I got quiet.
but
Oh, dang you, man! I was going with him.
but
I hate
With-
Casey.
with a second year from Juju, he's in that offense. with no questions. They got rid of Martavis Bryant. He is their number 2 receiver. And the Pittsburgh offense should be top 5 again this year. So I had to go with Juju because I know he should get the ball pretty regularly.
That was going to be my pick, bro. Straight up snaked it.
You're welcome.
Do. I'm on the clock.
Brandon Cooks. Alvin takes Brandon Cooks.
He got hot in the middle. He didn't do so good early on. Got hot in the middle.
The thing is with Brandon Cooks is he's going to the number 1 offense in the league last year.
I'll fucking bite.
Josh Gordon, I thought about that too, bro.
Yeah.
I'll bite. I was like, we'll let the auto drafters get Golden Tate.
Yeah. Justin's auto draft took care of the Lions receivers for me. So that's,
No pressure now.
Oh, I'm on the clock again?
Yeah.
yeah.
Holy moly.
That went by fast, right?
Yeah.
Well, you're sandwiched, I think, between the 2 auto picks of Justin and then just the Casey before you.
No. I'm scared of that one.
Let's see, you got 3 receivers, 2 running backs, 1 tight end. Where are you going to go? Where are you going to go? Are you going to go quarterback?
Yes, I am.
Drew Breesy.
Easy peasy, Drew Breesy. Tom Brady is too risky for me.
So the beauty of the 1 quarterback league and an 8-team league is the difference between the number 1 quarterback and the number 8 quarterback isn't that much.
Yeah.
But the difference between the top 10 running backs and 20 to 30 can be pretty drastic. And especially in the NFL that we play in today. I like the pick with Goodwin.
Just because I know him and Garoppolo got that connection going on. And besides whoever's left on here is just it's not really all that great.
Let's see. Alright, well, I'm going either running back or receiver again. I have 3 of each, so I might as well go with one of these top guys. Deion Lewis left New England to go to the Tennessee Titans, who lost DeMarco Murray. If Derrick Henry doesn't have the type of year that he could have, then Deion Lewis figures to be a significant portion of that offense. So with it being round 7, Deion Lewis getting picked there, I think is okay with me. Now we're getting to the guys who they're not going to carry your season.
It's just more like fillers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, they're guys that they'll win you a week. There'll be maybe a couple weeks. They're guys that will they'll have a week where a receiver will have 10 catches for 120 yards and a touchdown because the other guys are being defended so tightly. Ooh, I don't know where to go here. I got 4 running backs, 3 receivers. I'm in between going Sammy Watkins and Corey Davis. I think I'm going to go Sammy.
Motherfucker.
Fuck Sammy, bro.
Sammy Watkins moving over to Kansas City. That offense, I think, is going to lead the league. So I'm doubling
The Jaguars
up.
defense.
Yeah, buddy.
Oy.
Okay.
Yeah, buddy. Saxonville, bro.
Got to break the seal on defenses, I guess.
Right.
I like the Devin Funchess pick. Cam has to throw to somebody other than Greg Olson.
Exactly.
Oh, you sure, bro?
Someone has to catch the damn ball.
Olson might get hurt too. He has a injury history, so I think Devin Funchess had a pretty good season last year. I really do think Cam is verged for a bounce back. He didn't have a great season last season. And I feel like the year before he didn't have a good season as well. Now we're getting tricky.
Oh man.
I got 4 receivers, 4 running backs. That's my team right there.
4 receivers.
I go Corey.
Dang it, bro.
Good pick. I mean, last year I was part of the Mariota hype machine, and Corey Davis was one of the reasons for that. Him getting drafted. He's getting into his second year. He was banged up with a hamstring issue all year last year. So,
Wait, is there a max on how many fucking...
5 running backs, 5 receivers.
I just see that now. I maxed out my wide receivers.
Man. I'm kind of in this position where are you gonna pick, man? 10 seconds.
Yeah,
Where
I just didn't want to pick somebody from the same team, but I went with it.
that's actually what I did in my other draft is I took Kerryon Johnson at in one round because I needed a running back, and later, like much later in the draft, I decided to take Theo Riddick, and I'm just going to be able to sandwich the two, just in case Kerryon Johnson isn't as good as I think he's going to be. But man, I was hoping people would start taking quarterbacks because I don't know where I want to go. So I think I'm going to go over into the tight end area and take a top tight end now. I'm going to go Trey Burton.
Good pick, good pick.
The Chicago offense should be better than it has been in years past. Trey Burton has that Jimmy Graham kind of athleticism to him. And for those of you who haven't heard by now for the 100 millionth time, he's the one that threw the touchdown pass to Nick Foles in the Philly special. Alright, I'm going to cave and I'm going to take my chances with Deshaun Watson coming back healthy. What he showed last year was phenomenal. So if he comes remotely close to that, then taking him in the 10th round should do me well, because he's only the 4th quarterback off the board, I think. 5th, we got Rodgers gone, we have Breeze gone, we have Brady gone, we have Cam Newton gone. So, I mean, there are guys down the list that might be able to do well. Ooh, that's a risky pick there. Alvin taking Jordan Reed, who's I don't think he's played a full season the last 3 years.
I just need him to be healthy when Jimmy Graham is on bye week.
Oh yeah, that's true. He's your backup option.
Since his defense is pops. I'll go for the best defense in the league.
And plus, he does have Alex Smith throwing on the ball, so we know how he doesn't like to throw long balls.
Woo! I think I went through this draft without getting a Lion, even though I might end up with Stafford as my backup quarterback.
I'm on the clock again.
Yeah, man.
That's how the snake draft works. You draft with the, like, sixth
Came
pick,
so fast.
and then the 7th pick gets taken, and then 8 and 9 are, well, 8 and 1 are auto draft, then 2 gets picked, and then you're back on. This draft is flying by. We're at 24 minutes into the 11th round. Do y'all, how many like 8 and 10 team leagues have y'all played? And like how often do y'all do fantasy football? Do y'all do it every year?
already-
Unless
I haven't played in like 2
got
years.
2 leagues besides this one.
I haven't played in 2 years.
you played last year, right? You
Nope.
were in mine. You weren't in mine.
I don't think so.
Maybe not. I know Sheldon was. Alvin was. Yeah, I was just gonna see, like, do y'all have, what different kind of rules and team structure have y'all played, and do y'all have a preference in how it works?
My preference is PPR.
Ugh, get out of here with that shit.
Well, I'm in one league that's PPR. I'm in another standard league, and then on top of this, so I got 3 leagues going on.
Yeah, see, I'm in this one in another league. What are your the settings for your other league?
What was it? Oh no, that was the PPR one. The PPR one, we cut down the bench from having it to be, what is it? It's usually like 7 or 9 on the bench, right?
Yeah, we have 7.
Yeah, we cut it down to like 4, I think.
Yeah, I just think that you need more people on the bench, just because you need backups at positions that go on bye week. And that's the only reason I keep it at 7. Is you know, it allows you the ability to draft 2 receivers at the top that have the same bye week, and then it gives you the ability to have 2 receivers on the bench that have different bye weeks, but then also have a quarterback who has a different bye week, a running back that has a different bye week, and all that. All right. Oh, man. I'm going to go ahead and take my backup quarterback. I took my backup tight end. Just so I will take my one.
There it is.
My one Lion. And I'm taking him now because he's still a top 10 fantasy quarterback, and he's my backup. So if something happens to Deshaun Watson, I'm not stuck with throwing in like Mitchell Trubisky, who that's happened to people before. I think in my other league last year, because I really like the format of my other league. It's a 10-team league, and it's a 2 starting quarterback league. And so it really, really makes you have to think about the way you draft and who you take in what round. Because in the 1 quarterback 8-team league, I honestly don't think you need to take a quarterback until like right before you take a defense and a kicker. Pretty much, I could have gone and picked another running back, another receiver, but I figured I might as well get my quarterback, my backup quarterback now.
Yeah, I prefer like either 10 or a 12 team, just so like the waiver wire is not so like loaded with picks. I think like a 10 and 12 team like shows like how low you can draft.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's why I have a cap at how many moves you can do, how many transactions you can make, because I don't want you going and like switching out your entire team each week and just because of matchups and injury and all that stuff. I want you to actually like draft people in with the belief that those guys are going to be the way to go for the entire season. Round 13. We still have the Vikings defense on the board.
The Vikings.
I'm
all
kind of
guaranteed quarterback on the board.
I'm kind of skeptical about the Vikings defense. It's one of the reasons I don't think the Eagles defense is going to be as good as it was in last year. The Vikings defense, they're great. They have a lot of talent, but
backup tight end.
they're in a division that has an offense like the Lions offense. They have Aaron Rodgers in it, and this year's Bears offense should be much better than it has been. So, are they going to put up the same kind of statistics? So I'm kind of thinking that you might want to go with like the defense. You want to focus on a defense that's in a division, because that's 6 games a year that have not so good offenses. So like I'm thinking, the Ravens are playing Cincinnati twice a year, Cleveland twice a year, Pittsburgh twice a year, and the Pittsburgh games aren't usually high scoring affairs, and the Ravens have been up there for a while, or they were up towards the top of the league in defense last year, if I am not mistaken. So I'm just the Ravens.
That's what I think. Like the Vikings are like, their defense is always up there. Like just like now, it's like I think now they got that light where the Vikings are like a top 4, top 5 defense, and so they get that special light on them now. Because before,
I think the Vikings and Eagles had. Well, the Vikings last year, their defense was so damn good. Like I'm even thinking they were kind of lucky to open up against the Saints, because they played their first game when the Saints hadn't really figured themselves out yet, and you could see what the Saints offense was able to do in the second half of their playoff game when they figured out that defense. So round 14. The last pick that I'll need is a kicker, so I can fiddle around with these next 2 picks with just spare guys. Is Sterling Shepard still the number 2 receiver in New York?
Yep.
Man.
What they got, like Elvin Ingram and then OBJ.
Yeah.
That's all they got.
Yeah, I went with Josh Doxson. He's proven to be pretty reliable. Alex Smith, I think, is an upgrade from Kirk Cousins. The Vikings offense is going to be the big question mark, because I just don't know about Kirk.
Mariota, man. There we go.
And there go the Texans defense, the Vikings defense. Got Justin Tucker gone now.
Already took Greg the leg.
That will go Gostkowski.
Yeah, that's the thing that I look for in kickers is, all right, what's a team that they're not going to score a lot of touchdowns, but they're going to move the ball.
They're going to settle for field goals.
And that's typically why I draft Matt Prater every year, because the Lions move the ball. They just don't score touchdowns. And so they kick a bunch of field goals. So we're almost done. We got these last 2 rounds, and we can grade ourselves once this is done. I remember in school when the teacher had you like grade your own homework, and you're like 100.
Yep, I got it. I'll tell you right now.
Ooh, this is a tricky pick. I don't know if what kind of running back I want to go with, because I'm going to go another running back, get a 5th running back in here. No, you know what? I need insurance, just in case. You know, you never know when quarterbacks are going to get hurt, so you might as well have backup plans.
Oh, you went with Dak.
Dak.
So I figured, you know, might as well. The quarterback, Deshaun Watson, he's coming off that ACL thing. So if he's not fully healthy, I really just don't know what kind of year Stafford's going to have. He's started every game the last 5 or 6 years, but last year, the last couple games, he had like a broken rib and a broken pinky that he was trying to play with, and his numbers diminished. So having Dak, who I think is actually going to have a very, very solid year, having him as my third quarterback allows me to not worry about what happens with Watson and Stafford. Oh, now what kind of kicker do I want? I know I said that get a kicker on a team that might not score a lot of touchdowns, and I don't think that Philly's going to score a lot of touchdowns.
Interesting.
Well, especially Carson Wentz hurt, and they're going to go with Nick
Foles in week 1. They have Jay Ajayi at running back, who's had a good year at Miami. I think his name's Corey Clement,
yeah.
Here we go. That's my last pick.
Like powwow.
And that's it. Drafted over.
Sorry guys, but I'm gonna win this year.
Bro, look at this squad though.
Right.
I got Alvin Kamara and Kareem Hunt. Now I'm slacking in the receiver department, but I have 3 teams number 1 running backs that are pass catching running backs. They're 3 down backs.
I don't know, man.
It's
my top 2 running backs are Zeke and Devontae Freeman.
See, but Devontae Freeman, he doesn't get the ball as much as Kamara and Hunt will, because Tevin Coleman. I mean,
yeah, you better hope Tevin Coleman doesn't vulture any of your touchdowns.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
yeah.
I got like 3 prime they're the running backs on the team. Like, there's nobody behind them that's going to even vulture any touches or their playing time.
Yeah, I almost went McCaffrey with one of my picks. I have him in my other league because he's almost a guaranteed 25 touches a game, which is valuable now for the running back.
I do a bit. My receivers is Brandon Cooks, Doug Baldwin,
And that's the kind of
Goodwin.
The risk you take is you have to have a fantasy strategy. You have to go in saying, all right, well, I want to be loaded at receiver. I want to be loaded at running back. I want, a top 5 guy in running back and receiver, because you're almost guaranteed that in every draft, unless another player in that draft takes, the top 2 running backs. And I went into my draft Sunday with a plan, and I knew that I shouldn't have. I should have just winged it like I did tonight, and it probably would have worked out to the way I wanted it. Because this draft tonight worked out the way I wanted it. Everything fell into place. I actually got the plan that I wanted Sunday. So that gets us done with the fantasy draft. The league, the NFL season starts Thursday. That's why we drafted tonight.
Finally, man.
I know that I kind of had talked about just doing the fantasy draft, being done with the podcast, but we have another 15 minutes to delve into a couple things. So this is kind of just going off of a gut instinct here. I want to do somewhat of a season preview, and I've found that gut reactions or gut feelings tend to be the better reactions that we have. So I want to just really quickly do our little NFL season preview and picking division winners. And division winners, 2 wild cards, and a Super Bowl matchup and winner. So we'll get into that, and then we'll wrap up this edition of the Benchwarmers podcast. So Alvin, I'm going to start with you. We're going to start AFC. We'll do all of AFC, then we'll go all of NFC. And this even goes into, we'll do the 4 division winners in the AFC, 2 wild cards in the AFC, and then who you think is going to represent them in the Super Bowl.
All right.
And then we'll go all NFC, and then that should wrap it up. Well, I'm just going to go top to bottom on the ESPN conferences. We'll go AFC East. I feel like we're all going to be in agreement here. The team that's won it,
The Jets?
Dolphins?
13 years. I think we talked about it on fantasy, because on our fantasy thing, Andrew had the busts as being Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah.
Because if there was a year to get the Patriots, this is the year. And then you look at the teams that they're in the division with, and it's
still
Bills. They made the playoffs last year, and they pretty much climaxed. They're like, oh my god, and they got rid of.
I gotta change my shirt.
Yeah, like LaShawn McCoy might end up getting suspended at some point this season. The Dolphins are god awful. They got rid of their 2 best players from last year. And then the Jets, they have the best shot, and they're going to start a rookie quarterback all year.
So dumb of trading Teddy Bridgewater. Like, what was that?
It's not dumb at all.
That was stupid.
I don't know why they signed him to begin with.
But he outperformed, what was it, Darnold? He outperformed him in the preseason.
But Teddy Bridgewater was never going to be their future guy.
Well, I know that, but
they were just try to get some kind of value for him, because Teddy Bridgewater, he was going to be that. He was going to be a bridge,
which is fine. Because you got a rookie quarterback, which I don't think he's going to be week 1 ready, but.
I drafted him in my other league because I'm like, all right, well, by week 6, they're either going to be like 2-2, or 3-2. Not sure when their bye is.
Watch, when they end up 0-4, they're going to be going back to that trade.
And they're gonna and then they're just gonna let Darnold grow, and they're gonna let him.
But I think that's bad for a rookie quarterback because it's proven
It depends.
when they do stuff like that, it's bad.
It depends on the quarterback, because a lot of people are like, well, it's bad for the development. Peyton Manning went 3-13
But you're
and
talking
set
about
the record.
You're talking about Peyton Manning though.
Right.
That's a different talent.
The people who were talking about Peyton Manning when he was getting drafted, because there was even a conversation about whether he should have been the number 1 pick overall instead of Ryan Leaf. Like, people were thinking that Ryan Leaf
those were the two quarterbacks that year in that draft class.
In this year, it was really class wise, it was Darnold, Darnold's talent. If he lives up to the talent that he has, he is by far the best quarterback in this draft. Baker can do some things that Darnold can't do. Rosen can do some things that Darnold can't do. Lamar Jackson can do things that Darnold can't do. All that stuff. Allen can do things that Darnold can't do. But as a quarterback package, Darnold is a more complete quarterback, and it seems that if he goes 0-16 this year, it's not going to alter his growth. And I should be able to speak on that because Stafford has gone through terrible years with the Lions when he was a rookie and his first couple years in the league, and he's led the Lions to the playoffs a couple years.
Yeah, but when you're on a bad team, losing all the time, bad management office and all that affects. But I think it's good for Teddy Bridgewater to go to New Orleans.
Oh, that's great.
And
it's
he's
great
going
for
to be
him.
under Drew Brees.
Yeah,
they're under Drew Brees.
That was such a brilliant move by the Saints, and because you have Teddy just in case.
Yeah.
But Drew Brees is either going to retire after this season or next, and now you have a quarterback coming in, learning from Drew Brees, who has a quarterback who has similar stature to him. Bridgewater's a couple inches taller and can obviously move better in the pocket and get outside the pocket a little bit better. But I think, it was such a good move. But the Jets, they probably didn't need to trade Bridgewater. It might not have been the smart, short-sighted view, but long-term it was probably the right way to go. So the Patriots, I think we all have comfortably winning the AFC East. Right?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
All right. So, Alvin, AFC North, Ravens, Steelers, Bengals, Browns. I kind of have a feeling like we might all be in the same boat here, too. But, Alvin, who do you have winning it?
I definitely do see Pittsburgh winning it just because once they do get Le'Veon Bell back, that three-headed, but Cleveland Browns, I kind of want to put them up there just because, but I'm going with the Steelers.
Andrew?
Steelers all the way.
Yeah, same here. And I think we're also all in the same boat, that if we were placing a bet on a team to win that division, and as far as getting money back, it would be the Browns. We would bet the Browns because their odds are probably the lowest. I think they're the lowest in that division to win. So the smart money is on the Browns to put $5, win 10, something like that. But yeah, we all have the Steelers there too. AFC South and the AFC West are the two interesting ones in the AFC. Alvin, going back to you, who is your AFC South champion?
But I'm going to say the Texans just because they got a more well-rounded offense. If Jacksonville had some receivers, I would have said Jacksonville.
All right. Yeah, it's Jacksonville. I think they were riding high last year. Andrew, who's your division champ there?
Yeah, I mean the AFC South. It's really 2-team division, right?
I don't think so because
Possible with that Tennessee, we're just like we're dipping our toe in the water.
Yeah.
you do know that Tennessee made the playoffs last year and beat Kansas City in the playoffs, right?
Yeah, you also know that Houston's quarterback
was hurt, and Jacksonville made it there because of their defense.
Yeah.
And there's a less likely chance of their defense doing a similar.
I just don't like Blake Bortles.
Yeah, so that's.
You mean Mariota beat the Chiefs, right? Not Tennessee. Mariota beat the
No,
Chiefs.
their defense had to step up too. The Tennessee defense is legit.
But that offense was all carried by Mariota that game.
Yeah, which is what I expected out of Mariota all season. They changed head coach, which is probably for the better because Mike Vrabel, he's a little younger, and I think he's probably going to be a little more progressive in the types of things that he does and the schemes than Mike Mularkey was. But the AFC South, similar to the AFC West, is, well, before Saturday, I would have said any of the teams in the AFC West could win that division. Now, Oakland's out. Same thing with the AFC South. Like, I think any team there could win that division dependent on Andrew Luck. If Andrew Luck isn't the guy we saw, 10 years ago? I think that's the last time that he played. But if he's not that guy, then the Colts are not going to make it there, and it is a 3-team race because the Texans should be better. It seems like they've had injuries from hell the last 4 years. So if they stay somewhat healthy, the talent is there. But I believed in them last year. I'm going to believe in them again this year. I think Tennessee's going to win this division. I think Jacksonville's going to take a step back. I think teams are going to really realize that they're Seattle minus Russell Wilson.
Minus Doug Baldwin.
Yeah, So I think Tennessee can pull out that division. Wouldn't surprise me to see the Texans win it though. And now we'll go to the AFC West, which was really to me the most interesting of the AFC divisions, because they could possibly get 3 teams into the playoffs. But Alvin,
if it was 3 teams to get into the playoffs, I would have said it's AFC South. AFC West, I'm going to say the Chargers. Just because I like their defense better than Kansas City, because Kansas City got rid of Marcus Peters.
sucked into the hype machine.
Yeah.
And, of course,
the Chargers are a good bet to make it to the Super Bowl in the AFC.
Really?
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't check that, but
yeah,
I just like their defense better than Kansas City. I think Kansas City's going to have to try to put up anywhere from 27 to 30 plus points to win games.
Which I think they're going to do.
I think they can. I think they can win a few.
Their offense is going to be damn good this year, as long as Mahomes doesn't turn the ball over a lot. If Mahomes can stay within, I'd say 9 to 13 interceptions, Kansas City's offense is going to lead the league. Andrew, who's winning that AFC West division for you?
I'm sticking with the Chiefs, man. I mean, there was a lot of hype behind Oakland, but then they had a rough weekend.
Yeah, well,
they had a horrible.
They had a rough, horrible.
Yeah. People like Oakland, they were set to have a bounce back year. They've been working, as people like to say, they've been working on the culture in the team. And then they trade Khalil Mack,
their best player.
And I think it wasn't that they traded their best player, it was how the whole situation played out that I think really just disheartened everybody. So it wouldn't surprise me to see the Raiders go 4-12 or when they have a 10-6 talent. But I was split hair with this division. I wasn't sure really where to go because even the Broncos, they drafted what is his name? Bradley Chubb, out of Georgia. I think Georgia. NC State. The Chubb from Georgia is Nick Chubb. But they drafted Bradley Chubb to pair up with Von Miller. And those two guys should recap it. But they lost some of their defensive backs over the last couple of years. They're going to have an upgrade at quarterback with Case Keenum. So they're going to be a really interesting team. But I'm going to, as I said, I think this team's going to lead the league in offense. I think Kansas City's just... They're better coached than the Chargers are. They're better offensively than the Chargers are. And I think they have a better home field advantage than the Chargers do. So I think they'll win the division, but they might tie, and it'll come down to a tiebreaker as far as record goes. So then, with those 4 division winners, who are the 2 teams that y'all see making the playoffs as wild cards? Alvin, you had Patriots, Steelers, Texans, Chargers. So who are your 2 wild card teams?
So for sure Kansas City, and I'll say the Titans.
Andrew, who are your wild card teams?
I'm gonna go with. No, I can't do that one.
You had every other. You had the same division winners minus you had the Chiefs for Chargers.
Right. I'm gonna go Baltimore and Jacksonville.
Jacksonville? Even though you
Going
don't like Bortles?
A little
I hate
off the
Bortles.
map. He just loves Jalen Ramsey's mouth. And what's crazy
that
is
dude came out with heat though.
Jalen Ramsey might not even be their best cornerback. Like that's the crazy part because AJ Boye, they don't throw against him. Like the reason Ramsey has his numbers is because they're like, nope, we're going after you.
Yep.
So it's kind of the same thing that happened with like Richard Sherman is teams were trying, or Patrick Peterson, like teams go away from those guys. They're like, yeah, you don't have any interceptions. I think Sherman was talking shit about Patrick Peterson or Darrelle Revis being the best cornerback in the league because Sherman's interception numbers. Yeah, they don't have interceptions because they don't even try to throw against those guys. They're at least attempting on you because they think that you'll at least give some room. But my wild card teams in the AFC are going to be the Chargers and the Texans. So I have Jacksonville out. That puts me and Alvin having the same playoff in the AFC. We just swapped division winners from the South and the West. I think Jacksonville's going to have a top 5 defense again. Their defense is so good. I think Fournette's not going to have the same type of year that he did. I don't think they're going to have the same types of games that they did against Pittsburgh in the regular season. I just see them taking a slight step back and missing the playoffs because the Texans, if they're healthy, they're probably the best talent, the most talented team in the South. And I know I said the Titans are going to win that division, but just because they're the most talented team or they're not as talented as the Texans doesn't mean they're going to still win the division. So that leaves us to AFC Super Bowl. Who's winning the AFC? I'll start with you, Andrew.
I'm going with Houston. I don't think New England has the. I don't think they have it. Not this year. I think it's time for the decline. And it's a long season, a lot of hits. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Houston.
Houston's I think again, Houston healthy. Like look at the game they played against New England last year. They should have won it. They had a defensive meltdown at the end of the game. But Deshaun Watson was like trying to carry everybody to the finish line there. Watt, Clowney, the type of defense that they have when healthy. Again, this is all when healthy. The Texans very well could be the representative of the AFC. Alvin, on to you.
Man, I'm splitting hairs here between Pittsburgh and Houston. I'm gonna go with the Steelers. Win healthy. That offense is just a juggernaut.
Yeah, the problem with the Steelers is their offense is a juggernaut, but their defense like, I think Pittsburgh would have won the AFC last year if the Ryan Shazier injury never happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately, he's not going to be back this year. He might not ever be back, and it's like they had to try to fill in the void for him, and so I think the Steelers, while they're still going to be a very good team, and I can see them having like a 12-4,
You know,
13-3 years.
That Ryan Shazier thing. I'm gonna go with the Texans.
That's
Because
So-
Ryan Shazier is godlike, and then like you don't have him, you don't even know when he's going to come back.
Not coming back till next year.
so. This is so my Super Bowl representative from the AFC comes down to this. Who gets matched up against who in the playoffs? So who had, a regular season that lines up well with another team? I gave you, I made the joke just a little bit earlier that you're circling the hype train, but I think the Chargers are making the Super Bowl.
What?
All right.
I think so. There's a couple things. Melvin Gordon is a top tier back. He's a 3-down back. Very, very good. Keenan Allen, if he stays healthy, he's a top 10 receiver in the league, if not top 5. Mike Williams was their rookie last year, but he missed the first half of the season. I think he missed like the first 12 games because of his injury in one of the late games in college. So he's going to be fully healthy. Yeah, they don't have Antonio Gates anymore. Their tight end already tore his ACL this year, Hunter Henry. But Phillip Rivers has never been shy about spreading the ball around. So Phillip Rivers is going to put up numbers just like he has before. The difference is the Chargers' defense is on, maybe not on par with Jacksonville's, but it's like right there with Melvin Ingram and Joey Bosa on the outside rushing the passer, Casey Hayward, and I can't think of the other defensive backs, but they have equally good cornerbacks on both sides and strong and safeties, and they have good linebacker play. Their defense can hold up with the New England's and Pittsburgh's and Kansas City's offensively. Their offense can make up for anything that happens that Jacksonville couldn't against New England in the playoffs last year. So I think it comes down to matchups, and with the Chargers not winning the division, that means they'll play one of the division winners. I can see them going up against Tennessee, who I have winning that division, beating Tennessee just because they're better than Tennessee. And then I can see them playing the Patriots in round 2, and the Chargers have always played the Patriots well. And so I can see them beating the Patriots in round 2, and then in the conference championship, they'll come up against another team that's already played 2 playoff games, and I just see the Chargers making it there. It just seems like Phillip Rivers is the only quarterback from that draft class, only big name quarterback from his draft class that doesn't even have a Super Bowl appearance. So I think he makes it there this year. So that's who I have.
It'll be nice. I wanted them to do it when they had the Big 3, but
yeah, it would have been nice to see Tomlinson in the Super Bowl. So now we're going on to the NFC. NFC will wrap it up for this week. Andrew, you'll lead off the NFC because we're leading off with the NFC East.
I was like,
Spoiler
of course.
alert, he's going to pick the Cowboys.
Of course I'm going to pick the Cowboys. Who's going to win the division? Eagles are hungover.
Super Bowl winners. No.
Eagles are hungover.
Yeah.
The Redskins are deadskins, and the Giants.
They're the Giants.
Looking kind of short.
Yeah, it's. I feel like the NFC East this year is one of those divisions where either you might get an 8-8 team into the playoffs. like I think all 4 teams could just fuck around and end up all 8-8, 9-7, 7-9, right there. Like there's a possibility that they're all going to have right around the same record, like a game or 2 off. Like there's not going to be a 14-2, a 9-7, a 6-10, and a 1-15 team. No, these teams are all going to I feel like this year these teams are all going to be very, very similar record wise. Alvin, who do you have winning?
You shouldn't even ask me. I got the boys.
I got the boys as well. So I just because they're going to give me shit for my NFC North pick, I have to give them shit about their NFC East.
We're gonna go with
the Bears.
But me and you, Alvin, during this last season were shown most foolish because I feel like week to week, me and you more so than Andrew were trying to belittle the Eagles' success because they played the second easiest schedule in the NFL. They had a lot of injuries. It just seemed like their season wasn't. It was one of those.
Give it to them on a platter.
It was one of those like fluke NFL championship seasons. But the thing is like you look at them in the playoffs, and that's when my kind of vision changed. Is like, oh shit, this team's actually really, really good. Which is why they were so good in the regular season. They played cupcakes, but they smashed them all because of how good they are. Because they had to beat Atlanta, which came down to like a 4th and goal last second of the game play, and Julio Jones drops a pass.
I just think they had luck on their side. I mean,
Like
of course, you know, to win a championship, they say you need to have some luck, good stuff to go your way. I just felt like
it broke their way.
It broke their way more times than not. So it just reminded me of when the Giants beat the Patriots for the first time.
The 18-1 season.
the 18 Giants.
They just luck went their way more times than not. I mean, that fucking catch, like for real.
Yeah, David Tyree's last catch of his career.
Yeah.
So yeah, we all have the Cowboys winning this. If the Cowboys line gets healthy, like if Frederick comes back from his ailment, which hopefully it can be resolved quickly and he comes back fully healthy, the Cowboys fix some holes defensively. It wouldn't surprise me. I think week 6 or so, Seattle's 1-4. They're needing something to go their way. They trade Earl Thomas.
They make the trade finally.
So that wouldn't shock me. But the Cowboys, I think they have the highest ceiling right now out of all the teams, but their floor is also pretty low. NFC North, Andrew, you're starting again here. Who do you got? Vikings, Packers, Bears, Lions. Oh my!
Shit.
That's gonna be a tough division.
It's a fucking good division.
Yeah.
It's a really good division.
I'm going to have to go with Aaron.
Hey, Ron.
Yeah, man. I mean,
Enough said.
I was like, Minnesota's just like, but it's just at the same time, it's like, I don't know.
That is Kirk Cousins is what really gets me there.
We don't like that.
I just haven't really felt like he was a quarterback that really could lead a team to a Super Bowl or a division title. And
we said the same thing about Sam Bradford and Case Keenum, and they did it with both of those quarterbacks.
Oh no, I thought Sam Bradford could have led them to the division title because I really like Sam Bradford. I think Sam Bradford, when he's healthy, is much more talented than Kirk Cousins. The only problem is he's
never healthy.
He's like fucking paper mache out there. It's a new year, new quarterback, same weapons. How are they going to mesh? How's the offense going to be done? They lost their offensive coordinator from last year, so it's kind of tricky how they're going to play it out. Alvin, who's your division winner in the NFC North?
I'm going to say the Vikings. I still think they have more power on offense with Cook, the three-headed monsters.
That's the thing. Cook, he was. I think he got hurt week 2, maybe even week 1. But he looked like he was going to be a monster for them.
Well, you look how he looks now. That boy, he just hit the gym.
Yeah.
And they got a three-headed monster: Stephon Diggs, Thielen, Kyle Rudolph, and they still did all that without Cook. Latavius Murray could step in and do things for them, and I think they have the best defense in that division. Even though the Bears just got Khalil Mack.
Yeah,
And the Packers, the Packers were trying to get Khalil Mack, but obviously the Bears gave a better offer.
Yeah, the Bears were the only team that gave a second first round pick up, and that's why the deal got done with them. So my NFC North winner is the Lions. No, I'm kidding. I do think it's going to be Green Bay.
Rodgers carrying the ball.
Aaron Rodgers, when he's healthy and going, he elevates that team like no other person in the league does. I think he elevates his team more than any other player does for their team. He's been able to make up for defensive inefficiencies, receiver inefficiencies, running game inefficiency.
He doesn't even have a running game. What running game?
The thing that, like, the Packers' top 3 players are Aaron Rodgers and their 2 tackles, Bakari and I think that's his name, and then Bulaga. I think they have Bulaga still.
Beluga.
But like David Bakari, and then Bulaga, like their tackles allow him to like escape the pocket and do the magical Aaron Rodgers stuff. So the Packers are winning that division, and again, they might go 10-6. The Vikings might go 9-7, 10-6, and like those, I could see any of these teams really winning it. The Lions, I think, now might have the hardest road to getting there. A lot of people, I think, are sleeping on their defense, but there are more question marks for the Lions than the other 3 teams.
The only person I like on your defense is Darius Slay. That's it.
He's like their 3rd best defensive player.
I don't know who.
Glover Quinn. And I think a lot of people forget that they have Gerard Davis, who got hurt his rookie year and looks to be in the future, like going forward. He looks like he could be one of the top middle linebackers. And then they still have Ziggy Ansah on the edge rushing the passer. So their defense isn't as bad as people might think that it's going to be this year. So NFC South, Andrew, who you got? Which, and to me, this is the strongest division in all of football.
Really?
What?
This division.
I would have thought the North.
Yeah.
No.
I'd go more north than south.
So the Saints, I think, are the best team out of both divisions. The Panthers are probably equally as good as the Vikings and Packers, and I think the same about the Falcons. Like, the Bears and Lions are worse than the Falcons and Panthers.
But then you're saying that
Tampa Bay
is better than...
No, I think Tampa Bay is terrible, but I think the top 3 teams in that division are so good that it kind of makes up for how bad Tampa Bay is.
But that's what I'm saying. You got 3 really good teams: Detroit, Green Bay, and Minnesota. And then I'll definitely believe Chicago is better than Tampa.
Really, I was just trying to sucker one of y'all into saying that the Lions were actually a good team. So
Yeah, I know. Not
There
gonna
you go,
happen.
Casey. You're welcome.
Nah, NFC South. I've got the Saints. Carolina, they got to prove something before you can put them up there.
I don't know. It's Cam Newton's year. Every other year, he has those MVP kind of seasons.
Get out of here with that.
the one in 8 years every. Alvin,
New Orleans.
I think New Orleans is going to be the 1 seed in the NFC. And I mean, I said it earlier. I think the Saints. I think the Saints have a very, very good road to the title this year. It depends on, football being football. So yeah, I think the Saints are winning that division. We're all set on that. So we're going to the NFC West, where we have the Cardinals, Rams, 49ers, Seahawks, which, this could very well be the worst division in football because of how bad 3 of these teams could end up being.
You think this is worse than
AFC East.
Yeah.
I think so, because I think we all have the Rams as winners. Am I wrong in assuming that?
I got the Rams.
Do we all have
I got
the
the
Rams
Rams.
there? Okay, cool. So, as good as the Rams are, they're not the fucking Patriots. So it's like if the Patriots, I'll put it like a 9. The Rams will put it an 8, and then so the Rams are slightly below the Patriots. The Seahawks are going to be absolutely garbage. Russell Wilson might be able to eke out 5 wins, but I don't think they're in for a good season. The Cardinals, Rosen's going to be starting midway through the season because either Bradford's going to get hurt or they're just bad. And the 49ers are in the same situation that the Jets are, where the Jets have a decent defense and they have something going for them. They almost made the playoffs last year. And their biggest question mark is their quarterback play. The 49ers, yeah, they won their last 5 games last year or whatever it was, when they traded for Jimmy G and he started, he led them on that win streak. But we don't know if that was just the end of the season hot streak where the teams they're playing they don't have anything to play for. He has to prove himself. Like, we don't know what the 49ers are going to be with Jimmy G. So I would put the 49ers right there with the Jets, and the Cardinals right there with the Bills, and the Seahawks right there with the Dolphins. Because there are so many issues with all of the teams that I think the Rams go 6-0 in this division without blinking. So they might be the worst division in football. But yes, the AFC East, that's like one, like for sure the AFC East is down at the bottom. But whether the NFC West gets there or below them is going to time is going to tell. So now, wild card for the NFC. Andrew, who are your wild cards? You have Cowboys, Packers, Saints, Rams. The only team that was different is Alvin picked the Vikings to win the North. It's tough. The NFC is much deeper than the AFC is.
I've got 3. I got 4 teams.
Who's your 4? Like, I'm looking at 2 from either the North or it could be 2 from the South.
My 4, I got Philly, Minnesota, Carolina, and Atlanta.
Those are my 4.
I was like,
and
I
I
can't
throw
really-
I throw a Homer 5 in there, but but that's just me.
Yeah, those are my 4. So breaking it down to 2, I'm going to go with Philly just out of respect, the fact that they just won it. And
they get 4 games against the Giants and the Redskins instead of 4 games against some of those other teams in the other divisions. Which kind of what is somewhat what it comes down to is what the schedule looks like for these teams.
I'm going to go Philly and Minnesota.
Alvin?
Well, since I already got Minnesota in, I'm going Green Bay. And I think Atlanta, they out. Like, they ready to hit their mark. They're not going back. Either Philly. I think Philly's gonna have that hangover worse than Atlanta did. Just because they won the Super Bowl. So I'm gonna go Carolina.
So you went Philly, Carolina?
No, I went Green Bay and Carolina.
Oh, Green Bay.
Because I had Minnesota in
Yeah.
that division.
I just want to double check something. I was looking at what I have these teams going, because I definitely have I have Philly making it in there as one of the wild cards. Because like I said, they'll beat the Giants I think both times and the Redskins both times, and they'll probably split with the Cowboys. That puts them at 5-1 in their division. I've been a believer in the Falcons. Their offense is going to be tremendous. Hopefully, like the reason they weren't as good last year, and they made the playoffs still. And again, like I said earlier, they only lost to the Eagles, eventual Super Bowl champions, because Julio Jones, their best player, dropped a pass, which was his fourth dropped pass all season, in the end zone that would have won the game. So they made it to the Super Bowl 2 years ago, made it to the playoffs last year, and they made it to the playoffs with a new offensive coordinator, and people are talking shit about the offensive coordinator. Well, now Matt Ryan has a full season under his belt with the new coordinator. I think they have their act together. Carolina has more issues than they do. I think Minnesota's in a tougher division, or as tough a division, because I think the South is tremendously tough. I said it's the best division in football, pretty much. The only thing that's going to hold the Falcons up is that they're going to play Tampa Bay twice, and they also play. They play the AFC North as their AFC division. They play. So I think the Falcons are going to make it there with Philly. And yeah, there are some teams that could be on the outskirts that are going to be right there on the cusp of making the playoffs. Carolina, Minnesota. I really do think the Giants are in for a better year. Seattle is going to be garbage. I just really have to
throwing Seattle's going to be garbage.
Stick it in there. And the 49ers are going to be an interesting case. Like, if, Jimmy G is as good as people think he is, and he showed at the end of last year, they've upgraded some of their positions. Unfortunately, Jerick McKinnon got hurt, and he's out for the year. But those are my wild cards. So now, who do we have representing the NFC? Andrew?
You don't want to ask me.
They always give me shit for being a homer. I don't understand why I get all the shit for being a homer. And
The
F1
ultimate homer.
Yeah, he's picking the Cowboys, guys. So he has an All Texas Super Bowl.
Hell yeah.
Alvin, who's representing the NFC.
In my heart, always the Cowboys, but I'll say it's going to be the Rams. Better offense, better defense.
So you have Rams, Texans. You have Texans, Cowboys.
He has an all Houston and all
Texas.
All Texas. It's Texas football. Come on.
And it comes down to matchups and the teams you play in the playoffs. I think the Saints, with the bad taste in their mouth from last year, they should beat Minnesota. And I think if they would have beat Minnesota, they would have beat the Eagles. And they would have done the same thing to the Patriots that the Eagles did. I think the Saints are going to win the NFC this year. They gave Cam Jordan a tag team partner finally because their defensive line was pretty much like, please hope Cam Jordan gets to the quarterback. And he did more times than not. But they drafted Marcus Davenport out of UTSA. They traded up to get him, pair him up with Jordan. So if he's the talent that he looks like he could be, their defense is going to get better. So they're my NFC champions. So now that we have our Super Bowl matchups, who's winning it all? Andrew, don't ask you again. Got it.
He turned to me and I just smiled.
That's the Cowboys, by the way. Alvin, you're Super Bowl champion.
LA's going to go crazy. It's going to be the Rams.
It's going to solidify the move to, validate, as the proper term, validate the move to Los Angeles. My family in St. Louis is going to hate it. And I almost gave the spoiler earlier, but Drew Brees is getting a second ring.
He says we're Homer picks when nobody knows that his girlfriend's favorite team is the Saints.
Homer.
As I stare at an autograph picture of Drew Brees.
Yeah.
Saints picture right below it.
No, she knows that I'm very honest when it comes to letting her know what I think of the Saints and of teams. And I really try to make sure that I'm not a homer pick. I didn't even pick the Lions to make it to the playoffs.
Well, because got to be somewhat
It got to be one of the two.
Got to be kind of realistic.
It's going to be one or two. A happy wife.
I mean, the Lions have a better
happy wife.
offense than the Cowboys do. The Cowboys have one guy to rely on.
And who do the Lions have to rely on? They don't even have a quarterback.
One person in the world might say that.
One person.
There's several people that will say that.
I don't think so.
Detroit does not have a quarterback.
But the Saints are the most talented team, top to bottom, and it's that I'm not trying to be.
Let me stiff on that comment.
Yeah, I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to bait me into the Stafford conversation again, but it's not going to work this time.
Not this time.
Well, we finished our fantasy draft. We got our mini season preview out of the way, which we were supposed to record last night, but some guys, I guess, forgot that we were going to record Monday and Tuesday night.
I was too hungover to respond.
So that wraps up our weekly edition of the Benchwarmers podcast. NFL season is back, ladies and gentlemen. And we look forward to talking football for the next, 4 months, however long it is, 5 months, and we'll be back next week. I am Casey Coggins, always joined by Alvin Hebert.
Back at it.
And Andrew Lira.
Team Jerry Jones is back in action.
We are banned.